Gentlemen and ladies, I am making this announcement in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, being Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, laws of the State of New Jersey. The Planning Board Secretary has prepared a schedule of the meetings of the Planning Board of the Borough of Kenilworth for the year 2021 and has posted a true copy of this schedule on the bulletin board located out front in the entrance of the Borough Hall, and has mailed true copies of this schedule to the local source and the Star Ledger, and is maintaining a copy of this schedule in Borough Hall. Accordingly, this notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act have been satisfied in regards to this meeting. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Paserna?
Here.
Mr. David?
Here.
Mr. Clementi? Here. Mr. Mazzio?
Here.
Mr. Ladowdy?
Here.
Mr. Coelho? Here. Mr. Herbalario?
Here.
Mr. Demondo?
Here.
Can we have approval of the May 13th minutes? A motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ladowdy, second by Mr. Mazzio. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Kathy, any communications?
No, Chairman.
Okay. How about we talk about the letter that was sent out at this point, because that's part of...
The ordinance?
Yeah. Would you like us to talk about that? What you did?
Yes.
Just for everyone's edification on what happened at the last meeting, because we weren't around. Kathy?
Last meeting, the planning board approved 2 ordinances that were sent to us by the council. One was for cannabis and one was for the redevelopment. And we all approved it, and it was sent back to the mayor and council.
Good? All right, thank you. Resolutions, seeing none, we'll move on to old business. Any old business for anyone? Okay, seeing none, new business. For some new business, we do have new business that we talked about here in the workshop. I'm going to give the floor to our planner, and we're going to talk about our upcoming planning and master plan at this point. Kevin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the board knows, the state of New Jersey requires that the master plan be updated, or in the proper planning term, be re-examined on a 10-year basis. The master plan was rewritten by our board in February of 2011, and it is now due to be re-examined or rewritten in accordance with the state statute. This board and its planning and its master plan committee have been diligently working on that master plan for about 1.5 years now. They've made a number of updates in terms of policy, recommendations, as well as certain facts and figures. We're now in a position to take all that information and put it down on paper and rewrite the actual land use element and re-examine the other elements of the master plan as well. I believe that at this point the board is considering a resolution which will direct me to write that document, which would be adopted this evening and memorialized next month. That will allow the process to start on a formal basis. Does the board have any questions?
No.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, seeing no questions and what we just heard, the board members, we would like to have a motion on moving forward for our attorney to send a letter off to mayor and council as a resolution.
Or do we just want a resolution?
We want a resolution. I'm sorry.
Resolution. If you want to talk to the mayor and council beforehand, fine, but a resolution, it would be limited to the land use element and all that entails, your work, and in addition to a review of the other elements, not including the housing element.
The housing element will be
Done elsewhere.
stated to be re-examined, but will be addressed in the course of that work.
Right.
If only to keep us within the statutory guidelines.
All right.
Okay.
And I'll work with Kevin, between now and July, I'll work with Kevin on that language. And then we'll have a resolution for July. And then you'll give me the amount and whatever else.
Can someone make that motion, please?
One more question I had. So will we also put, not to put you on the spot, Mr. Ryan, but a time element as to when we plan on, delivering it to the board?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Time element, dollar amount, everything
Yes.
will be there.
Very good.
Okay? So Mr. Clementi made the motion, seconded by Mr. Demondo, and roll call, please.
Mr. Paterno?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Clementi?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzio?
Yes.
Mr. Ladowdy?
Yes.
Mr. Colella?
Yes.
Mr. Herbalario?
Yes.
And Mr. Demondo?
Yes.
Okay.
And I will have that for next meeting.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next order of business, we're going to go a bit out of order, and I don't want the people at 600 Cranford to get alarmed. We just want to do this as a courtesy for application Tiago Neto, 36 North 13th Street. I want to inform anyone that's here tonight to listen to that case that it's being postponed, and it's going to be heard on July 8th. So I didn't want you all to be sitting here going through the other case. So if anyone's here for that case, we're not going to hear that tonight, okay?
It'll be no further, assuming notice and publication are appropriate, no further notice or publication, July 8th, 7 o'clock in this room.
Okay?
Anybody here besides the applicant?
I'm sorry?
Is there anybody here on that?
Is there any, are you folks here for that? Yeah, so, I mean, unless you want to stay, you're welcome to stay to hear everything that's going on, but we will not hear anything on that case tonight. It's postponed, okay? All right, thank you. So,
There's no public on this tonight?
no, there's no public, nothing, okay? Okay, so the next application is 600 Cranford Avenue, Block 147, lot number 40. Can you come on up and you can get us moving?
Are we good on notice and publication?
Yes.
Good, thank you.
Okay, let me get prepared here. Just give me 1 second before you start. It's 567, this is 600. This is this one. Okay, what's this?
Mr. O'Brien has his hand up, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry?
Mr. O'Brien has his hand up.
No, I'm just shuffling papers because I took things out of order here in my portfolio. What's up, Mr. O'Brien?
Just in response to Mr. Rego's question, this is a non-noticed public hearing on minor subdivision.
I'm sorry. Minor subdivision, thank you.
Okay. Okay, we're all set.
And masks or no masks, but I see some people are wearing it, I've been fully vaccinated.
It's your choice,
I could talk better without it.
okay?
I just have a point of clarification. This is a minor subdivision for 600 Cranford Avenue where we're intending to subdivide a piece of property into 2 lots. And I understand that the lots will be conforming. I've gone through the various reports by Mr. O'Brien and by the engineer, and my question was, since the application for a minor subdivision is very succinct, and the checklist is very succinct and doesn't require a lot of information, whether the items requiring discussion, design standards, RSIS standards should be postponed until an applicant permit for a building permit is obtained.
Counsel, if I may interrupt you, I apologize. Did you state your name for the record?
Oh, I'm sorry, my name is Erwin Schnitzer, I'm an attorney in New
Got it, thank you.
Jersey.
My fault.
So, I understand the board wants to make sure that the properties that are going to be built on the 2 lots are not going to be look-alike. And we have provided elevations to the board, but we didn't want to be bound by what we provided in case those things change. So I can, that's my question. I'd like some clarification whether those items should be looked at a later time when the builder comes in for an application to construct with plans and things like that.
So protocol is usually, whether it's a minor subdivision or not, that we would have a set of plans to review. We want to see what the structure looks like. We want to see the entire set of plans, and that's what we'll be looking at as far as the board is concerned.
We have supplied those, and I do have Mr. Deck Ed Deck as our engineer, it's an expert witness, and Mr. Al Sheep, who is the builder.
Right.
So if you'd like to proceed and hear from them and comment on the plans, we can be ready to move forward.
Well, I'm sure the board would want to do that. Excuse me, sir? Yes?
Mr. Chairman, one of the requirements of our ordinance for minor subdivisions is found in 120-1.4 under the definition of minor subdivision, which item D delta requires that the subdivision be, quote, reviewed by the borough engineer and borough planner for consistency with this chapter and classified as a minor subdivision, unquote. So that is why Mr. Schnitzer and his client have received these review letters from Mr. Quayle.
Okay.
May I ask the board to swear in both my witnesses at the same time, because sometimes we go back and forth.
Absolutely. Could you spell your last name for me?
Schnitzer.
Mr. Schnitzer, before I do that, you had mentioned that you reviewed the reports, I believe you did, of Harbor Consultants
Yes,
and Shamrock Enterprises.
the latest reports, yes.
Okay. If you wanted to expedite this hearing, if you could tell the board that you reviewed it, your clients have reviewed those reports, and that you have no issues with complying with the suggestions and recommendations in those reports.
If we can,
Okay.
like Mr. Deck, our engineer, to make those statements.
Usually, I'd like to swear people in one at a time, and we finish that person, and then we'll go to witness number 2. It makes for a little bit better flow.
I understand, but I've been doing this for a lot of years, and sometimes the witness who hasn't been sworn in is sitting in the audience, and they want to ask him a question, and then he has to come up and be sworn in. But if you want to do it...
No, why don't we do it this way? If you could, Mr. Deck, you first, if you could raise your right hand, please, with regard to this application. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes, I
And
do.
could you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Sure, Edward, middle initial S, last name Deck, DEC.
And I'm assuming you're appearing as an engineering witness?
Yes, licensed professional engineer and licensed professional land surveyor in the state of New Jersey, and both of my licenses are current.
Okay.
Mr. Deck has appeared before us many times, so his credentials are...
And if your client could raise his hand, please, with regard to this application, do you also swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Could you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Danny Alshik,
I'm sorry, could you spell?
HANYELSHIEKH.
Very good. Okay. And you're the owner and the applicant?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Mr. Deck, have you reviewed the report of Harbor Consultants dated June 3, 2021?
Yes, I have.
And do you have any comments or any issues with the items in that report?
No, I do not.
And have you reviewed the planning report of Mr. O'Brien dated June 7, 2021?
Yes, I have.
Do you have any issues with any of the comments in that report?
No, I do not.
And you provided your plans. Could you just briefly tell us what your plans consist of, the various sheets?
Sure. On the easel in front of the board is the cover sheet, which
Mr. Deck,
describes...
I'm going to ask you to please move over to the mic because we are not going to catch you on the recording.
Sure.
Thank you.
On the easel is the set of plans, and it's...
Mr. Deck, do we have these already?
I'm sorry?
Do we have these plans?
Yes, you do.
We do,
These are
okay.
the plans that are going...
Got it, all right, then we don't need to mark it.
Set entitled 600 Cranford Avenue, it's a minor subdivision. This is one lot divided into two. On the cover sheet, we have a 50-foot range map, a zoning map, and an area map. And we also have some general notes and the zoning chart. Just wanted to point out that this lot is oversized as far as one single lot is 11,000 square feet and change. When we subdivide these two lots, they will meet all the bulk requirements. They meet the lot width of 50 feet, but they exceed the minimum length and area. So they are actually larger in size than the minimum lots for this zone. We are proposing to construct two individual single-family homes. Each home will be distinctly different from each other. We propose different earth tones for both houses and different windows placements, size of the building, and roof peaks. So we are sensitive and we are aware of that section of the ordinance that Mr. O'Brien pointed out as far as the look-like goes. So it is the intent of the applicant to meet that requirement and will be shown when we submit the plans for plot plan approval to both the zoning official, the planner, and the engineer. And we also, let me just add that we will also address the harbor's consultants and also the planner's concern about drainage. We'll do that criteria.
Anything else?
No, as I said, we agree to the comments in both layers.
Okay.
I have nothing further of this witness at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. If I may, Mr. O'Brien, Mr. Deck stated that the design of these two houses are different. Is that, in your opinion, different in the fact that the structures are different or the colors are different? Or is one blue, one red, hypothetically speaking, but is the structure the same?
Can I interject before the planner? Okay. So based on the plans, if you want to call them plans, they're not, to me, they're not plans. This is the two buildings that the board has been shown. And based on what I'm looking at, there is no differentiation between these two homes.
That's where I was going.
And therefore, this needs to change.
Okay, so that's where I was going, Mr. Deck, Mr. O'Brien. So, in your opinion, you wrote a report that said clearly that the lines of this house need to be different, and they appear to be the same.
Right.
The board needs to consider that. The applicant has pointed out, Mr. Chairman, that there is a difference in roof line and in window treatments. I was unaware until this evening that there was a difference in colors suggested. So this is up to the board whether or not they feel that this is conforming to or not.
Right, and just if I can add, the overall roof line is identical based on these drawings. There's slight differentiation in the peaks.
Yes.
But the overall roof line, if you listen to what I said, is meaning from the very top is identical.
So, Mr. Deck...
This can be placed inside this, they're identical.
Well, I mean...
That's my opinion. I know what you're going to say because you're arguing for your applicant. But I'm telling you what I see.
No, I understand.
And then, may I finish?
I'm sorry.
And then from my perspective, there are 4 windows across the front. And on one of them, there's separation between the 4, and on the other, they're 2x2s. So again, very minimal differentiation between the homes that are being, shown as the potentials.
Right, well, the intent, the intent is to just acknowledge that we understand what the ordinance requires. These are not the final design.
Yeah, but the board wants to see what is the final design.
We don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
It is pretty impossible to give you a final design because depending on what the prospective buyer is looking to do, we wouldn't want to have to come back to the board again and say, okay, this is a new final design. We need to have that flexibility. And I think that's not, we could, when we submit the plot plans, it'll be reviewed
Okay.
make sure there's
I'll just make one other comment. I've seen some of the homes that Mr. El Sheikh has built recently in town. Most of them, if not all of them, are very nice. And I see differentiation in those homes that have been built. One built on North 21st Street between Washington and Monroe, right? Is that right, Mr. El Sheikh? This is like...
I don't remember what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
The home that you built
I haven't
between...
been working in Kenilworth for the past 15 years. So what are we going back to? 15 years ago?
No, if you're listening to what I'm saying, I just commended you by saying, as far as I knew, you built the home, and if you didn't, then I'm mistaken. But there was a home built.
Okay, let's just stop a minute. I was in front of this board 4 years ago. Mr. Pisano, you remember that? I represent Wayne Phoenix, the cop.
I'm not talking about those homes.
Excuse me. Now you have to listen to me.
No, sir.
No. Sir, Mr. Sheik, I'm going to ask, I need to take control of this. What we're going to do is, we're not going to go back and forth in a banter from the board or anyone on that side. If I may.
Question to me,
No, he was actually, yes, he was commending you.
He was commending
He was
you.
actually saying you build a nice house.
Well,
Maybe you
just
didn't
give me a
hear
minute,
that.
Please. I understand.
Oh,
I have to.
I didn't say you didn't understand, I said maybe you didn't hear it.
Okay, maybe now, my bad, now I heard it.
Okay.
I was in front of this board 4 years ago. There was no attorney, there was no engineer.
Yes.
I was here in front of you making a representation for Wayne Phoenix subdivision and South Michigan.
Right.
And everybody was okay with it. I just came back from South Michigan, took a picture. And the picture is two houses. If you want to look at it different, they are different. Two different colors. You change the garage door, it's different. You change the windows, it's different. You change the roof, it's different. And was approved by the town. I don't understand why application is becoming a big deal in this town.
It's not a big deal.
It is a
I
big
don't know why you're saying it's a big deal, Mr. Sheik.
Because it's back and forth with Mr. O'Brien.
Okay.
I spent too much time back and forth
we
about
need
this
to-
application.
Counsel, you want
It's like I'm the last person.
We need to-
doing subdivision in this town.
We need to digress here because what you seem to have another agenda and not the one at hand.
No, this
You're
is the
telling
same
me-
agenda.
No, it's not.
If I get approved myself for a subdivision 4 years ago, Kenworth does not have any set rules to tell me what's the difference between the two houses, where you differentiate the two houses away from each other.
So-
You have set rules, Mr. Pisano? You don't have a set of rules.
So here's what I'm going to explain, or try to explain to you,
Okay.
without both of us getting overheated, okay? The thing is, the way I look at these houses, and the way this board is looking at these houses, they are side by side, and they look more cookie cutter, like, not that they're a low-grade house, they look almost identical. All it is that the window is spread apart. To the trained eye, you could see a roof elevation. Most people don't see that. They don't see it. And what we're trying to do is avoid the same thing that has been happening over and over and over again, where everything just looks the same. So this is the only point. And I will say that Mr. David was giving you a compliment, not putting fisticuffs here, not going that way. And I think you took it the wrong way and was getting started on the wrong foot.
It's not started in the wrong foot.
Well,
I see
I don't know.
too much, this thing is be dragging here for like 7-8 months for no reason. This is a minor subdivision.
Yes.
Planning board does not need to approve my final design. Okay, let's get that straight. Okay, I've been here before many times. Planning board does not have the power to tell me this house and this house here, it doesn't make no difference. Mr. O'Brien come in my meeting with him and tell me I have to like it. What's that I have to like it mean? I don't get it. What I have to like it mean? It doesn't make no sense. That's not the law. The law is you tell the applicant, look, this is what you have to follow, X, Y, Z. Kenworth does not have X, Y, Z. So it's up to me to make the two houses difference and the zoning officer, when I put my application, to approve it. It's simple. Why are we making this so complicated?
Mr. O'Brien, what does the ordinance say?
Section 120-17.5.c.1 states, quote, "Residential design should create the appearance of individuality of housing units. and avoid the appearance of large, undifferentiated projects.
So it is the board's decision whether those two projects, those two houses, either look alike or you could see a noticeable difference. That's what that interpretation
Do
is.
you have a design to tell me where is the difference?
Do I have a
Do you
what?
have a design?
I don't have a design to tell you how to build your house.
No, I'm not saying to build my houses. Okay, I got two houses here in South Michigan, I'm looking at it. Can you tell me what's the difference between the two houses? You pass by them, twice a day at least. I pass by them at least once a day. Can you tell me what's the difference in these two homes? Would you like to see the picture?
No, I would not like to see it. I understand what point you're trying to make, but what we're trying to say to you at this point is that it clearly states by way of the ordinance that you should provide us with your style of house so we can take a look at this and we don't have two houses in kind side by side.
It's not gonna be in kind. I can tell you that, it's not.
But by
I have
what you
already-
represented here tonight, by what Mr. Deck has shown us here, by a plan, it looks identical to us.
Okay.
That looks identical.
Where is the point when you say identical?
Well, the roof line is almost in line with the other
That's
house.
easy fix. We can fix that.
Well, you need to present that to us. Why- I don't want to, listen, I think you build a nice house. I've watched a couple of houses you built with Mr. Herbert, and I also feel that you are a great builder. But I also want you to understand that all we are doing is looking for something to keep the town moving in a way where we don't have the same dress on the same woman all the time. And that's what this looks like.
It's not going to happen.
Why can't you provide us with something
That's
different,
what I'm
Mr.
saying
Chairman?
here.
Why don't we-
Whatever it takes, it's gonna be done. I don't have to make this stretch it over and over and over. I can keep it very simple. I already have a prospective buyer for one. Okay, so that prospective buyer, he has the right to choose X, Y, Z. The second buyer, he's not gonna do the same, we're not gonna do the same house. It's gonna be completely a different house, completely a different look, not this look we submitted. I voluntarily submit this to Mr. O'Brien just to get the ball moving.
Yeah, but if you submit that to this board and we sign off on this board, that's what we're going to expect.
Can we make it a
Just,
condition?
we're gonna make a condition, it's simple.
Let me suggest something so we can wrap.
Move along.
I think this is easily wrapped up. Mr. Deck, when do you think you will have a better sense, you and the applicant will have a better sense of what these houses are going to be, what they're going to look like? We talking 6 months, we talking 2 months? I know there's a buyer, and he or she's going to want to have their own style.
Until the second house has a prospective buyer and they have an idea of what type of house that's going to be constructed, I can't give you that.
Okay, let me suggest something to the board. We're here basically for the subdivision. The lots are conforming, they've indicated on the record, and it will be in a resolution, memorializing resolution, that will comply with the requirements of the reports, and if the plans have to be revised, comply with the reports, they'll be revised. Okay, with regard to the houses, Mr. El-Sheikh, I think, first of all, and just listen to me, Mr. David was complimenting you on the quality of your housing. So, okay, we're not about to tell you what kind of paint to use, what kind of nails to use, what kind of roof you have to have. All Mr. O'Brien stated was they should look individual. Now, your point is, I don't know that yet, but they will. They will be individual houses, they'll look differently. I think if we move ahead and approve the subdivision, we have normal conditions, and one of the conditions will be with regard to the house, that at some point in time, and if the board approves it, we'll have a condition, at some point in time, you will provide this board, or Mr. Deck will provide the board, with when your plans are known, when you have a better sense of what the houses are going to look like, hopefully sooner than later, you'll present those plans to the board. You won't have to notice. You'll just provide them to the board, and we'll have, at some future meeting, we'll have a quick, we'll have a look at the plans, and the board can say, okay, these look different, and that's it. We're not going to vote on them unless they're two exact houses. The board really shouldn't vote on them, but we need to make sure as to the zoning officer and Mr. O'Brien that they're individual. I don't have any problem with. I think they are going to be individually looking, but I think we need to have something in the resolution that says at some point we need to see what's going on. And if you come back with two exact houses, there'll be a problem, but I don't think you will. I think you want to make those houses the way you want to make them, and I don't personally think they're going to be the same. And if you're telling us that the plans are just to supply us with something, that's fine. Hopefully they won't look like that when all is done and done.
We'll monitor colors. You got to remember that we're a board of many members. I'm the chairman of the board. We have a vice chair. We have all our members. We have our professionals here, and they are spending. Mr. Al-Sheikh is spending a lot of money for his professionals.
Right.
If you present something to me it's a prototype of what you're about to build, and this is what I have to go on. And that's not what the ordinance says. So I understand in good faith you want to try to push this through and make it work. But at the end of the day, if he says, look, I put this house up, I showed you that plan, and I moved that window 2 feet over to the right, it's different. Well, he's right, it's different because he moved it over 2 feet to the right. But the structure is not different. The integrity of the home is not different. And that's what we don't want to see in our town.
I understand.
So that's what we are here
So
to
a
protect.
condition would
Do
be-
I think he's going to just slap up 2 houses? No, that's not his MO. That's not the type of guy he is. But it could happen. And we don't want
I'm just saying a condition, and this one before he built anything, a condition would be that they present something to the board, a little bit more detail, some color, that would meet with the board's.
So he would have to come back before the board to present, and he could inadvertently be knocked down for that house? That's what you're saying to him. Because if he brings something up that looks identical to that house, we then have the right to say to him, no way.
You don't meet that condition.
You don't meet the condition. And he's going to say, well, now we're going to go to court because I moved the window.
So, Mr. Rego, to the chair,
Yes.
question. So, to me, as Mr. Paserno said, this was in our packet.
Right.
And so it was, in my mind, right of me and all the other board members to assume these are the 2 homes that are going to be built. If that is not the case, then in my mind, these should be withdrawn from this application, because this is what's on the record right now, is these are the 2 houses.
You're not building these houses, are you?
Are these
One of them.
Oh, okay. You're going to build one, and which would that be?
The one with the spread windows or the one with the windows together?
Well, let's nail it down.
Off the top of my head, I don't even remember the 2 houses.
One has,
One of them is going to be built.
Why don't you take
One of them is going to be a smaller house. Yeah, okay. Most likely the one with the double windows.
Okay.
the one with,
Look at the front of the house.
Yeah, the double window on top, not the spread windows.
This one.
The 2 doubles, like
Okay.
they mirror the garage, or they sit on top of the garage.
with 2 roof lines rather than the 3.
Correct.
Okay, so you're going to build that one. So your other house
Yeah.
cannot be the other drawing, or it can't be,
It's a smaller version. Not the same, smaller version, different look altogether.
I'm just trying to think of a way to make the board comfortable.
What we're looking at is just trying to get a guarantee, or whatever you want to call it, that that second house will be different, have a different elevation.
So this is the one you're going to build the one with the circular, no, they both have.
You don't seem to have what he has. Can I see this one?
I have
Labeled 602 Cranford Avenue.
Oh, 602
Lower right, 602.
he's going to build.
Just
604. 604.
So,
Just a set.
604.
This one will be the, okay, because I want to step ahead with the assessor, talk to them about addresses, and this one here will be address 604 Cranford Avenue.
okay.
The first house, which is 602, that's the end of the block,
By the woods there.
yeah, by the wood. It's gonna be a smaller house, completely different. Bi-level, completely different elevation altogether, has a circular window.
Why didn't you bring that to us? Why, this would have been so simple.
Is there,
Because up till now, I didn't have nobody, but now we have a prospective buyer on
Okay.
602. So 602, it shows the smaller version, of course, because of the money factor of it, okay? So it shows a smaller version house.
all right, so you're not building
This is a bigger version house,
602.
that's gonna go on 604, that's the reason.
Okay, the 604 is going to be built on one of the lots.
604 is a lot away from the wood.
Got it,
It's
okay.
specific. That's what's gonna be going
So
forward.
this is one,
Is that scissor.
and the other one is going to be, can we say, it'll be similar to the ordinance? It will be significantly different, or?
Yes.
Kevin, whatever the magic words are in the ordinance.
Yes. It's completely different house.
It's going to be an individual appearance, avoid the appearance of a large undifferentiated project. I mean,
Yeah.
so, okay. If the board's looking for a way to maybe get through this, what we could have, we can indicate in the resolution, in the event the board approves the subdivision, that the plan for 604 will be constructed on one lot, and the other lot shall have a house that, and then we'll tie it into the language in the ordinance. So it has to be different.
I mean, that works for me.
Well, and I'm sure the prospective buyers wouldn't want to say house
Probably not.
also, so I mean, that's,
Right, unless they're pre-built and somebody's just coming in and buying them, then they're just gonna buy whatever available.
Are these
But
spec
somebody-
houses, are these specs or custom?
It's a spec, semi-custom type.
Okay.
There's a lot of custom features in the house.
Would you agree, if the board sees clear to do this, would you agree to that language, that 604 will be built? You're going to build that, and the other one must be, and then we'll put language in there that has to be different.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
again, we can't tell you, just make it different. I mean, we're talking.
Listen, we can't do it just that way because it sounds like we're making a deal. Like, do me a favor.
No, well, he has to come up with the ordinance,
We have to
which says-
really put the proper language in here, but I just want to address something. There's two people in the back. I just want to address that we will recognize you, but I don't know how you play into what's going on here, but we open the meeting to the public before we make any decisions on anything that's happening. You'll have a chance to speak, okay? So I just wanted you to know that I'm not disregarding your hand waves, okay? So... Okay, so what else do we have?
Any homes as subsequent to the approval of a minor subdivision then have to go for a zoning permit and construction permits. So should this board wish to put any kind of a condition on a resolution, that would have to be addressed at that stage. So there will be a subsequent review.
So let's clarify something. This board does not want to make anything difficult for Mr. Ali Sheikh. We don't. But we also want to make you understand that we're looking to get something that is pleasing to the eye and not, I hate to use the word cookie cutter because it sounds, but you know what I'm saying. Let's just make two of these bottles and then we're going to sell them, but I'm going to take this cap and I'm going to go there. We're not looking for that. Maybe that has been done in the past, but it's not going to be done in the future. And what we're trying to do is just we want it done and we want it done right. And that's why we're spending so much time on this. So that's what we're looking to do. I don't think it's too much to ask. So I'm going to hear Mr. Clementi and then I'm going to come back.
Real quick, Mr. O'Shea, when you said the second house will be smaller, you mean square footage wise?
The square footage wise, off the top of my head, the one we have the elevation for is 35 feet. The second one is going to be 25 feet, completely different. One garage, and it's a smaller version home. Visually, you're looking at it, you say, you know what?
That's a lot different.
Yeah, there's a lot of difference in between the two homes. The size is different, the elevation is different. One-car garage versus two-car garage, so that's going to make two different homes, completely different homes.
All right. So Ms. Elishik, you actually heard what our concerns are and what the board is thinking and what Mr. Rego said and what Mr. O'Brien has explained. Are you okay with that as for
I'm good with that.
Okay, so then we're going to prepare some language. Are you okay with that? Oh, yeah. Okay. We're going to prepare some language, once we get to that point in the meeting, and then we'll come back to you. Do you have anything else?
Nothing else, Mr. Chairman.
You can wipe your brow now. Okay. I guess at this point, we will, if you want to take a seat, I think we're going to open the meeting to the public, and it would be the best way to do that, correct?
Yeah, I was just going to say, does any other board member or our professionals have any other comments?
Yeah, we didn't hear from you, Christian, I'm sorry. It got away from us, and I can't see you with that mask on.
Yes,
Welcome back, Christian.
thank you. Mr. Deck did agree to all the points in my letter, but I just want, instead of just saying, the applicant will comply with all the conditions, I think a very important condition is the fact that this might be in the flood zone, and that they will require
Yes.
DEP approval. Or an exception, and that should be submitted to the town of Palm Seat and before any permits are.
So that definitely is in the flood zone there. You know that, right, Mr. Deck?
Yes, the
That's a
rear
biggie.
property is in the flood zone, but it's not going to be affecting the construction. It's the rear,
So what's that setback there from the house?
about 20 feet from the back of the post houses to where the flood zone begins.
Okay, because that creek runs right through the back of that as
Yeah,
well.
we
Not
showed
the back of the property.
Not in the back of your property?
No, it's not,
It's on Ari Russo's property.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
You're 100% correct.
Mr. Deck, have you started the
Yes.
process?
yes, we have.
Okay.
I didn't hear you, Christian.
No, I asked him if he started the application process for the DEP, and he said yes.
Well, the house that was there is down. He's got an empty lot at this point. Okay, if that's all you have for now, we may call you back. We're going to get this meeting open to the public at this point. Anybody, other board members, anybody would like to say anything at this point? No? Okay, can we have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. David, second by Mr. Ladati, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anyone from the public wishing to speak about this case and this case only, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Now, you were waving your hand, don't disappoint me now.
Or they can ask questions too.
Yeah, you could make a statement, ask a question, and please state your name and address.
My name is William Seuss. I currently live with my in-laws. We were both living at Roosevelt Park on Cena Ave since 2016. We just sold recently in March. We both grew up in Kenworth. I was good family friends with Mr. Elishik, found out about subdivision. He showed me both floor plans, two totally different houses from our perspective. Price point wise, we were the prospective buyers going in on the smaller size homes, just more suitable for us. We have two young children. We loved growing up here in this town. We're hoping to do the same for them. So,
Could you spell your last name, please?
SUS.
Yes, thank you.
So, Mr. Seuss and Vienna?
Yeah.
So you are the prospective buyers of that first home?
Correct.
Okay. So did you have something to say? No. Okay. So I appreciate you coming up here, and one thing that I want to tell you, that you have a very good builder right there, but I also want to tell you that you have a very good board. We're not here to hurt Mr. Elishik at all. We're here to make sure that the community is taken care of, and he does a fine job with his home building, but we want to make sure that we are not looking at the same thing. I don't want you to come home with a half a bag on and go next door. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That was the old way in Jersey City. They used to build 7 houses identical, and if the color wasn't different, well, I would go to my neighbor's house at one point. So that's what we're trying to create. We're trying to create a good environment, a healthy environment, and welcome to Kenilworth. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else from the public? Mr. Herbert, why did I figure that I was going to see you tonight?
Please address me by my AKA name now, Walter.
Oh, you changed it, yeah.
No, the councilman changed it.
Is your name really Walter?
According to the councilman, it is. Now I address myself as Walter Herbert.
Oh, okay.
I can only go by our leaders.
Name and address for the record, Mr. Herbert.
Sir, 14 North 12th Street, Kenilworth.
Okay, how can we help you tonight?
Good evening, Chairman and board members. I was looking at the plans for the first time, and Mr. David said there's no difference. I looked at it, and I see I see one plan with 2 ridge lines and one with 3, and the front facade on the 3 projects forward in 2 points, where the one with 2, it's just an angle of a roof line. Just my opinion, that's different. One has single windows, another one has 2 double twin windows. The garage doors, they could be different designs, and I heard Mr. O'Brien read the ordinance, but I think the applicant was trying to find out where in the ordinance does it say, define what difference is. And, I'd just like to know as a citizen and have a builder's license in case I come across a subdivision, what that is, with this applicant. Why isn't 3 roof lines compared to 2 is not different?
So I'm going to help you out, but not help you out. That's.
Well, make me understand. That's-
Well, maybe we could understand each other. I don't think that you're way off base, but I do know that, as you know, I'm a builder, and I built over 100 homes in my day, and I know that you are, I don't know if you're considered a builder, but I know you have built over 100 homes. Not over 100 homes, you have built some
Pretty
homes.
close to it.
Okay. But the 2 people that are purchasing that house in the back don't know what we're talking about at this point. Please, I don't mean that in a derogatory manner, but we know about ridge lines, eaves, gussets, shelters, all that kind of stuff, and we can see it from afar, right? But the layman can't. The layman can't see, what's going on there. I don't understand. So that's what we're here to protect. So yeah, Bob, he does have one more ridge coming down there, and he maybe moved it over. So to me, it's like, and I'm going to use the metaphor of 2 women wearing the same dress. One has a hat on and one doesn't. It's not 2 entirely different dresses, one wearing high heels and the other one wearing flats, or men doing the same thing so we don't get into trouble. But they're very, very...
Shades, not men and women.
Okay. They're very, very close in design. So that's what we are trying to establish. But I appreciate your input, and I think that Mr. Sheik Ali Sheik is going to build a nice house.
I'm sure he will.
Right.
But I would like to just ask that you are working on enforcing things. I think that should be in the ordinance.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Herbert, if anything, you know that this board has been working tirelessly to get things right.
I understand.
And we, it takes time. We learn from mistakes that have been made in the past, and, people bring up points, why did this, why did that? Well, sometimes a fish gets away.
I agree. Mr. Chairman, with all due respect.
Yes, sir.
But we want to do things right.
That's what we're trying.
So if we're going to do things right, the only thing I'd like to leave this board with is enforcing things that are not written, that's not correct. That's all. So that's why I'm asking for defining what's the difference.
Okay.
Where is it not written? I'm sorry, but, I mean, it's
What
not...
Mr. O'Brien read earlier doesn't give a definition
I know,
of difference.
but it does, kind of.
Basically, that's what he's saying.
Well, it's the way you...
So
And in the new master plan, I'm hoping that we will put something.
And before the master plan, we'll probably have that clause in there, because we can do that as well.
That's all I'm
Correct?
asking for.
So, thank you very much, Mr. Herbert.
All right.
Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? See you none?
Motion to close the public portion.
Closed by Mr. David, second by Mr. Demondo. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, this board heard the testimony of 600 Cranford Avenue. I think we exhausted the fact that one house is going to be built by the new residents, and the new residents are here tonight, and they're going to live in that happy home. And Mr. Sheik agreed that the other house is not going to look identical to the house that he is building. We're going to put some language together between Mr. Rego and Mr. O'Connor. That is Mr. O'Brien. You played for the other team. That's right. See, you used to be with Mr. O'Connor.
Look just like him.
Sorry you got to witness this, Mr. Elishi, but it happens every once in a while. And so we're going to put some language together to make it easy for us to put these conditions together for a motion to go ahead and approve the, or not approve the application here tonight. So I'm going to go now to Mr. Rego to put some language together that we could all vote on.
Well, in the event the board approves this, we have our normal conditions that we put in everything. In addition, there would be, the applicant has agreed to comply with the conditions in our professionals' reports and to revise the plans accordingly to make notations that comply with the suggestions that are in, or the recommendations that are in those reports. With regard to the houses, I understand that the house design at 604 will be built. It's going to be built for the Seuss's. And with regard to the second house, my thought would be, unless Kevin has something different, to key into the language that Kevin cited in terms of houses having individuality, having a difference. And I'm also going to key into the fact that we've had testimony from Mr. El-Sheikh, which the board has found persuasive, that he's not going to build the same house. I don't think the Seuss's would like it. He doesn't like it, and he knows that the board would not like it. So we'll put language in there to make sure that the second house is differentiated when it comes to the construction official, zoning officer. They will be able to look at those plans back to back and hopefully flag them if they have. I don't think it'll be necessary.
In addition to that, Mr. Rego, can we exclude the plan that was given to us, and I guess that would be 602?
Yeah, why don't we
exclude that house will not be part of the plan? Is that okay? We'll exclude that. It's not going to look like that at all, and it's not going to look like the one that's being built.
That would go a long way. Do you have any? Good.
And also, did we say that when the second house was to be built, that he was going to present it to Mr. O'Brien, or would he present that to the board?
Where does that go, Kevin? It goes to the...
Not normal circumstances, he would have to apply for a zoning permit and construction permit.
Right.
Any conditions in this resolution should be addressed at that time. Should the board wish to see these plans, that is up to you.
Mr. Sheik, Ali Sheik, I'm sorry, I would like to have the board take a look at that plan on your second house. You don't have to notice, you don't have to do anything, but just to keep it clean, I think we would like to take a second look. Do you oppose to that at all?
So, what's the easy way of getting this done?
Just like that, because you're going to provide us with a different plan.
Yeah, I will.
And that plan is going to complement everything that we spoke about tonight, that we put them side by side. Great job, Mr. Ali Sheik. You have our blessing. Go down to the building department and do what you got to do.
So submit it through Helen in the building department, and then...
I would have to yield to Mr.
We don't even need a hearing on it. It's just to take a look at it and make sure everything's good.
Chairman, I have to agree with the last comment. It would go directly to our board administrator, Ms. Johns. and through her to the board secretary. Ms. Machida would come directly to the board. You've already got reports on it. There's no need for a report, no need for any comment. The board says it's different or it's not.
Okay, I would also like to put in that resolution that once you get it to us, we don't have to wait to the next meeting to delay anything that you would want to do. We could get it through via email, we could correspond over the computer and take a look. Yeah, you did a great job, and this way there's no delay on your side. You don't have to wait for a month for a meeting.
Right.
Fair? Okay. Any other board members want to add or subtract to that declaration? Mr.
O'Connor. Harrigan.
Harrigan. I didn't call you Walter.
Walter.
Mr. Rego may wish to consider the DEP condition that Mr.
Yes.
Corrado pointed out.
Yeah, that's important. I know it's in the report, but my thought was to also pull it out and make it a separate condition in addition to being in the report, because I think that's important. Mr. Deck would know that, so.
Okay. So I am not going to recite all that stuff, but we just said it. If you want to put it together again to make a motion, I'll be fine with all that.
Do we want to hear it again, or?
Are you good with that, Mr. David?
I don't need to hear it again.
Do you need to hear it again, Mr. Elishik?
I'm sorry.
Do you need to hear all those conditions again, or are you okay with what we set forth? Okay.
I make a motion, move forward with this vote, as Mr. Rego stated for the resolution.
You make a motion to vote, or you make a motion to approve?
Approve the minor subdivision with these conditions.
A motion is made by Mr. Ladati. Anyone second? Second by Mr. Donato. Close. It was closed. Roll call, please.
Mr. Paserno?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Clementi?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzio?
Yes.
Mr. Ladowdy?
Yes.
Mr. Colella?
Yes.
Mr. Herbalaria?
Yes.
Mr. Demondo?
Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Elishik. Congratulations, Zeus family. And I want to tell you, you got excellent neighbors on that block, you know. That guy in the corner, he's a great guy. I'm on the corner. I am.
Okay.
Take care, guys.
Okay. Any comments? Any comments? Nope. Seeing none? Someone make a motion?
Make a motion, I open the meeting to the public.
Opened by Mr. David, second by Mr. Demondo. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none? Real quick. Oh, man. It was a happy hour at 8 o'clock.
Well, it looks like you,
Okay.
you're on there, you could miss one or two.
Okay.
Mr. Herbert, 14 North 12th Street, we go way back. It's okay.
It's okay.
Just a quick question.
Truly.
With the master plan, and I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but President Biden and I think he's a congressman now, Cory Booker, they're moving legislation forward for municipalities nationwide to delete single-family homes in the municipalities. They only want multi-family homes from 4 to 8 families where a single family would go.
Really?
Yes, and I know with the master plan and redevelopment plan for the last couple of years, Mr. David was concerned about this, that somebody can come on his block and the lot next door and throw up a 4-family house and make it, affordable housing. And it is a legit concern. But my question is to you guys, when this comes down the path in front of us, this board, if you're all here at that time, are we going to be in favor of that, or are we going to go against our president?
We can cross that bridge when we come to it.
I'm not going to answer that one. Yes, Mr.
Well, you're president, he's not my president.
Mr. Chairman, the concept of zoning was approved by the United States Supreme Court in a case called Euclid.
Yep.
Decided back in 1923, in which the power of zoning was referred to the states. Mr. Herbert may be talking about some kind of federal program involving federal dollars.
Yeah, maybe.
That does not include any authority whatsoever over the municipal land use law or the state of New Jersey, and therefore does not affect this board.
Okay.
as stated.
There you go.
There you go. Answered my question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Herbert. You have anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Herbert.
Motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
Closed by Mr. David, second by Mr. Clementi. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourned by Mr. David, second by Mr. Colella. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Lord. Good night, everybody.
Never heard anyone say.
July 8th.
July 8th.
July 8th.